Hello everyone, this is Tobes with ACF Solutions. Welcome to our first webinar in a series of webinars to support launching client success with Salesforce for higher education at ACF. We are going to be talking today about executive education, and with me is Watt Hamlet.
This is Watt Hamlet. I'm a solutions architect with ACF. I work with our team to design Salesforce-based solutions for our clients, and I'm going to be leading the demo today.
And this is Susan Tobes, and lead our business development team in higher education. Will not be hearing a whole lot from me today. I will try to be quiet, and Watt is going to be leading most of this session with a demo. But first we want to go over real quick with what our agenda is so that you have an idea of what we're going to be talking about, and then we're going to get started. First off, we want to give you a quick overview of who ACF is, what we do, how we do it, who we work with. We're going to a little bit about the revival of exec ed in higher ed and what's going on in that area, what we're hearing from our clients, and we're going to shift into demo. We have time at the end for Q&A, and we'd like you to keep track of your questions by using the question tool. There's an arrow that you should see on the GoToWebinar that you can click into, and you can ask questions there. We will do our best to keep track of those questions. We've got our question turned on, so if there's a question we miss, we'll be following up with you privately via email. Let's talk a little bit about very briefly about who ACF is. ACF is a Salesforce Tier 1 Foundation partner. What does that mean? That means we're a partner only to the foundation, and the foundation serves both the nonprofit and higher ed market. We're a firm located in Reston, Virginia. We have about 50 professionals working on our staff and support Salesforce only. We've completed 2005 over 550 successful implementations of Salesforce in both nonprofit and higher ed. And what you're seeing here is a small set of brands that we've worked with in our history at ACF. Follow a very structured approach, a structured methodology that ensures a low-risk deployment. At the time, we're very respectful of the institution that you work at, which follows likely a more collaborative model. So we want to make sure that we take a team approach so that we create success. Part of that success is focusing on a long-term user adoption plan, and by getting users to adopt Salesforce and using the tool, you're going to get the most out of it, and you're going to see a little bit of what that means today. Business school clients that I'm working with, either actively working with now or will be starting projects with or have worked in the past, this is a small representation of those. And I think a few of you are on the phone, so thank you for joining us today. What we're hearing from our clients is that executive ed is taking on a greater role in your organization, and it's really resurging, that there is a growth in custom programs. The school has a greater interest in diversifying your open enrollment programs, which means you need to increase your marketing efforts to fill those seats. You're being much more astute at marketing. You guys are getting really good at it. Custom programs that we need to track, these larger sales, we've got more seats available. We need to fill those seats. The thing that we're observing is the demand for programs is more diverse. It's no longer marketing, management. They want to see things like social media and really beyond what historically has been offered by institution. And then really coaching, as it's becoming an integral part of this, and so you need to track volunteers and mentors. So what's this all mean for you? This means that you've got a more complex environment, you've got higher opportunity, right? So greater opportunity for success, but many more seats to fill, many more points of engagement, a lot more to manage. This is where Salesforce comes in. So today, what we're going to demo are two aspects of ed. And I'm going to hand it over to, this is the end of my part of the demo, I'm going to hand it over to Watt, and he's going to talk about what we're going to demo, but I want to pause again right now and remind you that if you have questions, please feel at any point in time to put them in the question tool, and we'll get to them at the end. Take it off to watch. What?
Thank you, Susan. So a quick look at our the demo. We'll be focusing on two areas in executive education. There are a lot of things we could talk about, but we're going to focus our time today on these two areas. So first we're going to look at open enrollment, and in that area we're going to take a look at course registration management, registry tracking, as well as tracking and measuring outcomes. And similarly in custom programs, we're going to look at how Salesforce can support you in identifying and working with prospects, how to help you manage the sales process with efficiency and transparency, and how it can help you track your progress and measure your outcomes. So that's what we're going to be covering for the next 20 minutes or so. We'll spend about 10 minutes on each topic, and then we'll close the session with your questions. So I'm going to transition now to my browser. And as I do that, let me just say a couple of words about what the demo is not. So first, what I'm going to show you is not an executive ed product. And so this is representative of the type of solution that can be configured for your school using the Salesforce platform and party apps from the Salesforce App Exchange. And then secondly, what I'm going to show you is not the final word on abilities. So one of the great things about Salesforce is how flexible it is. Each school that we work with likes to do things a little differently. As their consulting partner on Salesforce, we have the ability to tailor a solution to meet specific needs. So what that means is if what we show you today doesn't look or work exactly like you'd want it to, that's normal. And we welcome the chance to talk to you further about how Salesforce can be tailored to your specific institution's needs. For this demo, I'm logged into Salesforce as Ann Jackson, who directs the Executive Education Program at Metropolitan University. This is a very exclusive and also a very fictitious school. Just that Ann is in the Executive Education module within Salesforce. So this gives her access just to certain data or functions through the set of tabs across the top: contacts and accounts, opportunities, events, campaigns, and so forth. And this is very important because at Metropolitan University, Salesforce is not just used for executive ed, but it's used across the whole university. Everything from undergraduate recruiting and admissions, services, advancement alumni relations, and in fact, if we just take a look at another user signed into Salesforce, this is Denise McConnell. Notice she's in the alumni relations module or app, and so she's got a slightly different set of tabs. She has access to different data. Because Salesforce has extensive options for roles and permissions, we can ensure that when Ann and her team in Executive Ed log in, access to just the data and the functions they need in the system, no more and no less. Looking at Ann's homepage here, you'll see it also features a dashboard. So this dashboard shows her key metrics across both open enroll and custom programs, things like where prospects are coming from the open enroll program, whether they're coming through online ads or events or the website. You can look at data on registrant trends for time. You can see on a month-by-month basis how many individuals they're registering across their courses, as well as looking at how the average registration is fluctuating month by month. And then she can also track progress towards their sales goals with custom programs. So they have a goal of $150,000 in program sales this year. They're about 58% of the way there, and their stretch goal here is $1 million. So we're going to dig a little deeper into some of these metrics as we go along about open enrollment. So how does Ann use Salesforce to support the needs of her open enrollment program? Some of the common challenges that we see in the schools we work with include things like how to get students enrolled online efficiently, track of who is enrolled and who's paid, know how we're progressing towards filling seats and hitting our revenue goals, and how do we know whether or not we're being successful or where there are opportunities for growth. So Salesforce can help Ann solve these challenges by providing a single platform with integrated class management, online enrollment, and participant management. Start off with class management. So at ACF, one of the best ways we've found to manage this in Salesforce is to use an integrated event management tool. A number of these that are available on the Salesforce App Exchange, the one we have here in our demo today is Linvio Events. You'll see it provides a way to manage courses right within Salesforce, supports the online course registrations, so that all the registration information comes right into Salesforce along with payments. If you happen to have a third-party registration tool already that you like, you could also consider integrating that with Salesforce, and we've done that for our customers as well. So the other thing to point out here about this special events tab is that, again, the university as a whole is using this tool within Salesforce to manage all types of events, recruiting events, info sessions, student workshops, fundraising dinners, and so forth. But again, when Anne accesses it because of her permissions, she has a view that shows her just open enroll programs. View is going to let her see at a glance all of the recent and current classes. With just a click, she can sort them by name or chronologically. She can quickly see things like how she's progressing towards enrollment progress, how much revenue has come in from classes. She can sort to see which classes have any registrants, as well as which classes may be over capacity. So all of this is available to her with a simple view and gives her access into the underlying records. Anne wants to check on the status of an upcoming class here called the Innovative CIO. So it's that record. She sees all the details about the class right in Salesforce. She sees things like the class, the date that is being held, the registration deadline, what's the fee, is it part of any particular topic or track, what's the maximum attendees, and then it's also calculating potential revenue for the class based on the registration fee and the maximum attendees. She can also see here how registration is progressing. So real time, as folks register for the class, it'll keep track of who's registered, how close they are towards capacity, how much revenue has come in so far. You can also see some visuals of that same data. This first chart is showing Anne all the folks registered for the class, what industries do they represent? And we can see in this class there's a good number of folks from the telecommunications industry, as well as from retail. Also can see how her registration is progressing over time. So her first registrations came in February, and they've been on a steady incline towards June and then July when the class will be offered. More information here on the record, such as event details, where's the event being held, address information, as well as content for the landing page for this on her website. So when it comes to online registration, all she's putting into Salesforce is now displayed on a public-facing calendar. So this is an example of that calendar. This normally would be within the context of your school's website. So anyone browsing for open enroll programs could see your offerings month by month. Notice these are color-coded based upon what topic area the class is in. So prospects could filter the calendar if they're just looking for certain topics. They can search for keywords. They can look for classes based on whether they're online or in person or so forth. So someone interested in taking a class with Metropolitan, in this case it's Patrick Allen, came to the website for Metropolitan, class on the calendar, and is now clicking to register for that class. That will take him to a registration form like this one. And again, this is generated right out of the special events tool, so all of the details that Anne's entered about the event automatically onto this page, so Patrick can see a course description, again, the location information, and when he's ready to register, he's just going to select the fact that he's registering for one person. It's going to take him to a registration form like this where he's going to fill in his information. If there are questions that Anne wants to ask at the point of registration, she can add those custom questions to this form. When Patrick clicks submit, he'll be asked to make a payment. And once he submits that, then all of his information, his contact details, the registration info, and the payment go right into Salesforce in real time. So when Anne goes back to the event record in Salesforce, the list of all of the attendees, including Salesforce is not just an event registration tool, it's also a CRM. It's really good at helping Anne manage not just a given class, but a comprehensive profile of all of her participants over time. So Anne can navigate now into Patrick's contact record, see the full history of all of his interactions with the school. To name and address information, she can see how many classes he's taken so far through the enroll program. She can see demographic information on him that may have been shared through an online form he filled out or at the point of class registration. She can see information on when he was created as a prospect within the system. So we can see that he first came into Salesforce in October of 2012, and the way he got there was by responding to an online ad, which into a website form that he filled out and populated this record in Salesforce. We're able to track his employer, what industry he's a part of, what interest he has, and then we can make use of all of that information. Salesforce campaigns. Campaigns give us a way to be able to communicate and market to Patrick and other prospective students in a very targeted way. Here we can see that Patrick was included on the mailings for both the pro brochure in 2012 and 2013. We also can see that the emails from the program, so using an integrated email marketing tool such as ExactTarget, the school can leverage information about Patrick and Salesforce, such as the fact that he's interested in courses on innovation, to target email messages to him, and then the results of those email sends, including whether or not he opened that message, are reflected right on his profile. And then finally, we also can see which classes Patrick is registered for and which ones he's attended. Because all of this engagement is managed in Salesforce, then Salesforce is able to give us the reports and dashboards, which not only, again, help us manage data, but are going to help provide insights, going to help drive business decisions around the program. Go into the open enrollment dashboard. We saw a couple of charts from that earlier, but let's talk about a few others. So we saw the registrations by month. This is again broken out by topic or track area, so we can see not only what's our total enrollment over time, month by month, but what percentage of that enrollment is represented by our different topics or tracks. We can see cumulatively across all of our courses which industries we're serving. So remember that particular innovative CIO class had a lot of folks from the telecommunications industry, but overall we can see it's really folks from the financial services industry who represent the bulk of our attendees. So we might want to make use of that fact in terms of either the promotion of our classes or the class offerings that we make available in the future. We can look at things like how we're faring towards filling up our classes, and this chart shows which of our classes and how many are either at or above capacity versus those that are below capacity. So we can see right now a good percentage are below capacity or even far below. And furthermore, if we notice that orange color, that shows us our classes on innovation, and see that for whatever reason, those are not performing as well as some of our other classes. So we may need to put a little extra effort in figuring out either tweak the course content or how to improve the marketing. We can do some tracking around revenue. So this chart shows us what our potential revenue is, and that's in the green for each month's class offerings. And then we can see in the blue how we're progressing towards hitting those revenue goals month over month. You can also see that broken out by industry. So across all those various industries, which ones are responsible for driving the most open enrollment revenue from, it looks like, $20,000 of total revenues coming from financial and healthcare on down to things like telecom and utilities. Finally, we can look at things like average class revenue by topic. So it looks like our classes in the strategy track on a per class basis tend to bring in more revenue than those in, say, the general management or the innovation track. So let's look at how Salesforce can support some of the common challenges in the area of open enrollment. I'll remind you about our Q&A panel. If you'll use that to questions you may have, we're going to come back to those at the end of the session, but I'll now give you a chance to do that. Now let's turn our attention to how Salesforce can support your custom program needs. Challenges we see in this area, again, among the schools that we work with, are things like identify prospects for my custom programs. How can I better manage the sales process? How can I track progress towards goals? So let's take each in turn. So first, how can Salesforce help Anne identify prospects for her custom programs? Now, she can always use Salesforce as through CRM to enter the names of people that she meets at events or conferences. She can upload lists that she receives from other sources. She can set up an RFI form on her website and then take inquiries from companies that are interested in custom programs supported. For the demo, though, I want to focus on two other ways. The first is data.com, and the second is tools to help her mine her existing data. So first, data.com. What is data.com? It is an integrated source of business data that's available exclusively within Salesforce. So data.com is going to let Anne search for leads and prospects for her custom programs that meet her criteria across 4 million companies and 30 million employees within those companies across the globe. So here we are in the data.com tab. We search interface. Anne knows that her programs fail across certain industries. She's hoping to get some traction in the telecommunications industry. So to help her find those prospects, she's using data.com. She's applied a filter here where she's looking for all companies and contacts within the telecommunications industry. She could search across other industry categories here and add those to her search. She also wants to limit her search geographically, so metropolitan in the Washington, D.C. metro area. So she's selected, first of all, that she's searching just within the U.S., and then that she's searching within that particular metro area. She could also filter this down by state or city, by zip code, area code, and then she can run her search of the information in data.com. We can see based on those two criteria, telecommunications in the D.C. metro area, we've got about 9,400 contacts returned through data.com, and that's a pretty wide net. So I want to narrow that down a little further. So the first thing she's going to do is just look for individuals that have the word training in their job title. She's hoping to find the folks who are responsible for human resource development. So when she applies that filter, that takes the list down to about 37 people. She can kind of browse that and see what companies they're from and what their job titles are. Decides, you know what, let's go ahead and just limit this to folks at the top. So let's only look for people who are either at the VP or the director level. She applies those two filters. Notice she can also filter by particular companies or departments. And so that takes her list down to about 6 people. So she thinks that's a manageable place to start. And so all she has to do at this point is select those records, and the option to add those to Salesforce. So it's going to pull the data.com, populate it into her Salesforce database, and she can begin to work with those contacts. And if any of those people already happen to be in Salesforce, she's actually going to see a little indicator beside their name here to tell her that those folks are already part of her database. So one tool that Anne has at her disposal in Salesforce to find prospects is data.com. Another avenue she has is simply to mine her own data. So again, because Salesforce is a CRM, it's really good at helping her track deals and touch points between her institution and all the accounts that her institution is connected to. So here's one way this can play out. Let's go back to our dashboard, actually, for the open enrollment program. Let's take a look at one of these charts here. So this is showing us across our open enrollment program, companies are represented. And we can see that most of the participants are spread out across a large number of companies here, right? So kind of onesies, twosies from lots of different companies. But we can see there are a handful of companies that actually have more significant representation. So Anne can drill a chart. Every dashboard chart that we've seen today is interactive. So just a click, you can go and access the underlying data. So here she can see at Verizon Communications, there have been 17 participants in courses, and she can see a good number of those have taken a class called Design Thinking Bootcamp. So, just using the data that's already in Salesforce, Anne's now able to particularly to say, let's reach out to Verizon and let's see if we might be able to sell them on a custom program designed thinking. Anne's going to go into the Verizon account record within Salesforce. Just a quick search here. As we saw with Pat Allen's record, this account record for Verizon, it provides a comprehensive profile of all of her school's touch points with that company. So she sees contact information, she sees some summary information, she sees information on whether her school has already been actually involved with this account form of custom programs, and indeed they have. There's a couple of open program opportunities as well as some existing revenue that's come in, rising to the tune of about $85,000. She can also assign an account team to Verizon. So if there are more than just her in her program that are working with this company, each can have a role, and that gives them certain access and privileges over the Verizon record in the system. And then she also can see what people are associated with Verizon. She's got a couple of folks who are direct contacts in Verizon. Sheila Hancock, who's Vice President of Human Capital. That's the person Anne thinks might be the right person to contact about this type of custom program opportunity. And she also can see that Chris Spencer here is the Director of Corporate Philanthropy. And if she were to click into Chris's record, she'd see that Chris is actually an alum of Metropolitan University. So again, that's where being able to have this used in as broad a way as possible across the institution enhances the amount of data that's being tracked and gives you more valuable information when you're making these kind of business decisions around your custom programs. So Anne does is she opens an opportunity in Salesforce, and you actually have already done that. Opportunity record, and this is where Anne is going to manage the sales process for the custom program. So few details are being managed here at the opportunity level. We say like the Anne's opportunity, it's a design thinking class. Account is Verizon Communications. It's an existing customer with the school. We've got a close date, projected close date at the end of August, and we've got a stage right now of engage. So as Anne works with the school and moves this through the pipeline, she'll be able to update the status so that everyone in the school has a better sense of when this class might actually close. Also here on the record, we can see the contact roles. There's Sheila and Chris. Sheila is the decision maker, and Chris in this case is an influencer. Then being able to track all the various activities involved in working on this opportunity. So everything from the first phone call she made with Chris, she created a record to track that. The introductory call she had with Sheila, a follow-up email, and through integration with Outlook and Gmail, sending emails from her desktop, those captured as part of this opportunity record in Salesforce. And then she's also created a task for her colleague, Jonas, and the sample course curriculum to Sheila. So you can see all activities that have been happening as part of this opportunity, and those are actually completed, and things are going pretty well. So Sheila has asked for a proposal, and so Anne's going to take a couple of steps here. The first thing she's going to do is post the proposal, so add it here as an attachment. And she's also going to create for her Elliot to review that before sends it on. So Elliot has a task that's assigned to him. It's an e-vacation. Salesforce is helping to kind of automate the steps for closing the sale. Also going to update the opportunity from each now to proposal. That automatically updates the probability to 50%. Save that change. Going to be reflected in any of those dashboards or reports that folks are looking at to see how the revenue is progressing. It also updates Chatter. So Chatter is an integrated social networking tool within Salesforce that helps your staff collaborate with one another. It helps create additional transparency in your processes. So now for Elliot here, for Jonas and anyone else following this opportunity as their chatter feed, either on their homepage or in an email digest, they'll automatically see that Ann has updated the stage and the probability has gone from 25 to 50%. So good job, Ann. So finally, back from Sheila, was ready to sign the proposal. Everything looks good. So Salesforce can also help facilitate the document signature process, and that's through an integrated app here called DocuSign. So Ann clicks on that button. She's taken to an interface here within Salesforce where she picks the correct document template. Oops, looks like my session timed out. You can pick the appropriate document template, merge information, opportunity record right into the program agreement. She can choose which contacts she wants to send this to. In this case, she's only going to send it to Sheila, so she'll take Chris off of there. And then when she sends, this is going to route sent to, she'll get an email notification, and she'll have the opportunity to view that document online, enter in her online signature. Documents created for Verizon for this particular course. Here are the details of the agreement. Is ready to sign. She just clicks the Sign Here button. Signature in, and she's all set. And then back in Salesforce, on opportunity record, and comes back through admin and is saved here with the opportunity. Finally, open enrollment provides the opportunity to look at her metrics, the custom program dashboard. This is really where managing processes in Salesforce can pay off because, again, in real time, she's able to track the status of what she's working on, what her team's working on, and get insights that are going to help her drive success. So, for example, this first chart here shows what's the status of the sales pipeline for custom programs. We can see how much revenue is associated with the various opportunities in different stages. There's 219,000. Right now, it's an active target phase versus 288,000 that's a proposal phase. We talked about tracking progress towards overall revenue goals. We can look at, for example, how revenue is trending month over month. The green indicates opportunities that have closed already, and the blue indicates opportunities that are yet to close. So we can look ahead into the year, predict out when we're going to be selling certain classes and how much revenue that's going to bring in, and also see things like the fact in December right now, we don't have anything in the pipeline, so we may need to start working on getting some proposals for that time frame. And you can also see which are the top accounts that are being worked with in terms of number of opportunities and revenue, as well as the leaders in selling custom programs within the organization. So Ann hasn't quite got the leaderboard yet, but maybe with the opportunity at Verizon, maybe she'll be well on her way. So that's just two examples, open enrollment, custom programs, of how Salesforce can support executive ed with your school. And as I said at the beginning, there are lots of other examples of that we'd love to share with you, but in the interest of time, for now, for this session, let's go ahead and open it up to your questions. Over to Susan.
Thank you very much, everyone, for the questions that you have posted here. Let's start with the question from Bruce. Find it's best to use a third-party event management solution or custom develop it, specifically as it applies to exec ed. We have, our experience has been it's going to depend on your requirements. So we've done this a couple of different ways. At school, we've integrated with their class management solution, so they already had one in place and did an integration with it. Others, they don't have one in place, and they're hard coding on our website the posting of their classes, which was really becoming much more, very cumbersome as the program grew. So this event tool gave them a very easy way to be able to publish quickly open enrollment classes. So it's really going to depend on your requirements, and we can dig into some of the details of what the boundaries are of these event tools like to another time. Another question from Tricia, is the calendar feature part of Salesforce? Is that part of the special events add-on? Tricia, the calendar that you saw that Watt showed is a calendar that's intended to be framed or embedded into your website. That actually is a feature of Linvio Events. Linvio Events is one of the event tools that we often deploy in higher ed. There's a number of event tools. This is a feature of that solution. You can view events both in calendar view. At the top of this page, you can view them in list view. As Watt was showing, you have the ability to filter those events. Another question from Octavio, this one was, what is the name of the third-party tool? That's Linvio Events. And I'm going to type in the name into the screen here so that you know how it's spelled, and look it up on the App Exchange. They're available via the App Exchange. And then Ishrat, hi Ishrat, nice to see that you're here. Should the form have the country and state pick lists? You enabled that in your org, and I'm assuming when you were talking about in the registration form for Linvio, is that I think that might be what you're talking about. And what my understanding is that form is a form that gets generated by Linvio Events, and I'm not sure how much we can impact that form. Can you talk to that a little bit?
So the fields that are available for the participant registration through the Linvio process, those are, with the exception of the custom questions, those standard fields, name, email, company, that kind of thing that you saw on the form today. Those are all fixed fields that are part of the Linvio package. So I agree, Susan. I don't know that we have much control over that.
Great. And finally, Ishrat, you had another question about where we've implemented, and I think that where we've done some successful Salesforce migrations. I think that would be a question that we'd like to take offline and talk to you one-on-one about some of those examples, if that makes sense. Do they have any other questions that they'd like to discuss at this point? Well, thank you all so much for your time today. We really appreciate it. I'm going to leave you with, we're more than happy to talk to you anytime about some uses that we've encountered in the space. We're happy to review with you how we got where we are, meaning how to come up with these use cases and where do these examples work, and other questions that you might have. Ishrat, I'll follow up with you directly. And thank you. With that, please stay tuned. We're going to see some more webinars coming from ACF in the very near future, and we look forward to present those to you again.